Ladies and gentlemen, friends, dreamers, fighters, look around you for 1 second, before I say another word. Look at the person on your left. Look at the person on your right. Now look at yourself. Really look. Past the tiredness. Past the doubts. Past whatever voice has been whispering that you are not enough. Because tonight, I am not here to entertain you. I am not here to make you feel comfortable. I am here to wake something up inside you that has been sleeping for far too long. There are over 8 billion people on this planet right now. 8 billion heartbeats. 8 billion sets of lungs pulling in the same air you're breathing at this very moment. And here is the brutal, uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The overwhelming majority of those 8 billion people will live and die without ever touching the outer edges of what they were capable of. Not because they lacked talent, not because they lacked opportunity, at least not entirely, but because somewhere along the way, they made peace with staying stuck. They made peace with good enough. They made peace with maybe next year. They made peace with watching other people's dreams from the sidelines, while telling themselves a comforting story about why their own dream never had a chance. I am not here to insult humanity. I love people. I believe in people. But love does not mean pretending that everyone is doing everything they could be doing. Love means telling you the truth. Most people are stuck. And most people will stay stuck. And the only question that matters tonight is whether you are going to be one of them. Part 1. The anatomy of stuck. Let's talk about what stuck actually looks like, because it rarely announces itself. Nobody wakes up one morning and declares, "Today, I choose mediocrity." Nobody signs a contract agreeing to a smaller life. Stuck is quieter than that. Stuck is sneakier than that. Stuck looks like hitting snooze one more time, because the version of you that wanted to wake up early last night is not the same version of you that has to actually get out of bed this morning. Stuck looks like starting the workout program on a Monday and quietly abandoning it by Thursday, then starting again next Monday, then quietly abandoning it again for years. Stuck looks like the business idea that lives in a notes app, untouched, while somebody else, with half your talent and none of your excuses, launches theirs and never looks back. Stuck looks like staying in the relationship, the job, the city, the identity that stopped fitting you a long time ago. Because change is terrifying, and comfort is right there, warm and familiar, asking nothing of you except your potential. Here is what makes stuck so dangerous. It does not feel like failure while it is happening. It feels like safety. It feels like realism. It feels like, I'm just being practical. Stuck wears the mask of wisdom. It tells you that dreaming big is for other people, for lucky people, for people who had it easier than you. And that lie is so comforting that billions of people accept it every single day. Because the alternative, admitting that you have more inside you than you have been willing to access, is far more frightening than staying exactly where you are. I want you to hear this clearly. Staying stuck is not the safe choice. It is the expensive choice. It costs you years. It costs you the person you could have become. It costs you the ripple effect your excellence could have had on your children, your community, your industry, your world. The bill for staying stuck does not arrive today. It arrives quietly, decades from now, in the form of regret. And regret is the most expensive currency a human being can spend. Part 2. What separates the exceeders? So if billions stay stuck, what is different about the ones who don't? What is different about the athlete who trains before sunrise while their competitors sleep? What is different about the entrepreneur who gets told no 47 times and asks for the 48th meeting? What is different about the student who was told she wasn't college material and went on to build something the world had never seen? I have studied this. I have lived pieces of this. And I can tell you, it is not genius. It is not luck. It is not some magical gene that skipped over everyone else and landed exclusively on the successful. It comes down to a small number of decisions, repeated relentlessly, when nobody is watching and no one would blame you for quitting. First, they refuse to negotiate with their own excuses. Everyone has excuses available to them. Everyone. The tired ones, the busy ones, the I don't have the resources ones, the I didn't get the right opportunities ones. Excuses are not lies. That's what makes them so seductive. They are usually partially true. You probably are tired. You probably are busy. You probably did face real obstacles that others didn't. But the people who exceed expectations make a decision that the excuse, however true, does not get to be the final word. They let the excuse speak, and then they act anyway. Second, they treat discomfort as information, not as a stop sign. Most people interpret discomfort as a signal to retreat. Their heart rate rises, their hands sweat, doubt creeps in, and they take that as proof they're on the wrong path. But the people who separate themselves from the crowd have trained themselves to read discomfort differently. Discomfort, to them, means, this is where growth lives. This is exactly where I am supposed to be, if I want to become someone new. They walk toward the exact feeling everyone else is running from. Third, they measure themselves against their own ceiling, not against the crowd. This might be the most important one. Most people calibrate their effort by looking sideways, comparing themselves to classmates, co-workers, siblings, strangers on a screen. And the moment they are doing about as well as everyone else, something inside them relaxes. They stop pushing. But the ones who exceed expectations are not measuring themselves against the person next to them. They are measuring themselves against the absolute limit of what they are personally capable of. And that is a standard that never lets them get comfortable, because no matter how far they go, there is always further to reach. Fourth, they build systems, not just motivation. Motivation is a spark. It gets you started, and then it disappears, usually around day 3. The people who actually go the distance understand this. So instead of chasing motivation, they build structure, routines, environments, accountability, habits so ingrained that showing up does not require an emotional decision every single day. They do not wait to feel like it, feeling like it was never the plan. Discipline was always the plan. Fifth, they treat failure as tuition, not as a verdict. Here is where so many people get stuck permanently. They try something, it does not work, and they interpret that failure as proof of who they are. I tried and I failed, therefore I am a failure. But the people who go on to exceed every expectation interpret failure completely differently. To them, failure is not a verdict on their identity. It is tuition paid toward their education. It is data. It is the exact information they needed in order to adjust and try again smarter. They fail more than most people ever attempt. And that is precisely why they succeed more than most people ever dream. Part 3. The Myth of Chosen. Now let's address the title of this speech directly, because I don't want you to misunderstand me. When I say chosen one, I am not talking about destiny handed down from the sky. I am not talking about being born special while everyone else was born ordinary. That is a myth, and it is a dangerous one, because it lets people off the hook. It lets them say, well, I guess I just wasn't chosen, and go back to sleep. Nobody is choosing you. There is no committee in the clouds, handing out greatness to a lucky few, while withholding it from the rest of humanity. If you are going to be chosen for anything, you are the one who has to do the choosing. You choose yourself. You choose yourself in the morning, when the alarm goes off, and you get up anyway. You choose yourself when the criticism comes, and you use it, instead of collapsing under it. You choose yourself when everyone around you has quietly settled, and you refuse to settle alongside them. The people history remembers as chosen were, almost without exception, people who chose relentlessly, privately, unglamorously, for years before anyone else noticed. The chosen one is not identified. The chosen one is self-appointed, and then proven through action, over and over, long after the applause would have made sense to stop. So tonight, if you are waiting for a sign, here it is. This is the sign. You do not need permission. You do not need to be picked. You need to pick yourself, and then behave, starting tomorrow morning, like someone who has already decided their life is going to look different. Part 4. What staying stuck actually costs. I want to slow down here, because I think we rush past this too quickly in most speeches. We talk about dreams and goals and exceeding expectations, and it all sounds inspiring, but we skip over the real cost of the alternative. So let's not skip it. Staying stuck costs you time you will never get back. Every day you spend negotiating with your excuses is a day permanently withdrawn from your one life, never to be redeposited. There is no refund policy on wasted years. Staying stuck costs you the version of yourself who was waiting to be built. Somewhere inside you is a stronger, sharper, more capable person. But that person only comes into existence through the exact effort you have been avoiding. Every day you avoid it, that better version of you stays unborn. Staying stuck costs the people who are counting on you, whether they say it out loud or not. Your children are watching what you tolerate. Your friends are calibrating their own courage against yours. Somewhere, someone needs to see what is possible, and your playing small does not protect them. It only lowers the ceiling of what they believe is achievable too. And staying stuck costs you the specific, singular contribution that only you could have made. There is a version of your talent, your perspective, your story, that does not exist anywhere else in 8 billion people. When you stay stuck, that contribution simply never happens. It is not that someone else does it instead. It is that it never happens at all. The world becomes permanently smaller because of what you decided not to become. That is the real price of staying stuck. Not comfort, not safety. A quiet, permanent subtraction from your own life and from everyone whose life would have intersected with your fullest potential. Part 5. The Blueprint Forward. So let's talk about what you actually do with this. Inspiration without direction evaporates by tomorrow afternoon. I don't want you leaving here fired up with nowhere to point that fire. Here is the blueprint. Decide, specifically, what exceeding expectations means for you. Not in vague terms. Not, I want to be successful. What does it look like? Concretely, 12 months from now. What does your body look like? Your finances look like? Your relationships look like? Your skills look like? Vague dreams produce vague effort. Specific targets produce specific action. Identify the one excuse you have leaned on the longest. Every one of us has a favorite excuse, worn smooth from overuse. Maybe it's, I don't have enough time. Maybe it's, I'll start when things settle down. Name it tonight. Naming it is the first step to disarming it. Build one system before you rely on one burst of motivation. Pick the single most important habit that would move you toward your target, and design your environment so that habit becomes nearly automatic. Lay out the clothes. Block the calendar. Remove the friction between you and the action that matters. Lower the size of your daily commitment, and raise the consistency. Most people fail because they aim for a dramatic, unsustainable transformation in week 1, and burn out by week 2. Aim smaller, and show up relentlessly instead. A modest action performed daily for a year will outperform a heroic action performed once and abandoned. Surround yourself, deliberately, with people who refuse to stay stuck. You will rise or fall to the average of the standards around you. If everyone in your circle has made peace with mediocrity, that peace will eventually feel normal to you too. Go find the people who make your current effort look small, and let their standard recalibrate yours. Track the evidence. Keep a record, however simple, of the actions you take. Not to brag, not for anyone else to see, but because on the days doubt creeps back in, you need evidence that you are, in fact, becoming someone different. The evidence protects you from the lie that nothing is changing. Expect resistance, including from yourself. The version of you who is comfortable being stuck will not disappear quietly. It will negotiate. It will remind you how tired you are. It will offer you completely reasonable-sounding reasons to stop. Expect this. Do not be shaken by it. Resistance is not proof you're on the wrong path. It is often proof you are finally on the right one. Part 6. The Moment of Decision. Every meaningful transformation in human history traces back to a specific, unremarkable-looking moment when an ordinary person decided they were done staying stuck. Nobody witnessed it. No cameras were rolling. It usually happened in silence, in a car, in a bathroom mirror, in the middle of a sleepless night, and it looked, from the outside, like absolutely nothing at all. But on the inside, everything changed. A line was drawn, a different standard was set, and from that unremarkable, invisible moment forward, that person's life bent in a new direction. That moment is available to you right now, tonight, in this room, not tomorrow. Not when things calm down. Not after one more Monday spent negotiating with your own potential. Right now, this is the moment where you decide whether you are one of the 8 billion who will quietly stay where they are, or whether you are someone who is finally, truly done with staying stuck. I am not promising you it will be easy. I am not promising you comfort, or applause, or a straight line from here to your goals. What I am promising you is this. The version of your life on the other side of consistent, uncomfortable, unglamorous effort is unrecognizably bigger than the version of your life you are currently living. And the only bridge between those two lives is the decision you make in this exact moment, and the thousand small decisions that follow it, on days when nobody is watching and no one would blame you for quitting. So do not wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. Choose yourself tonight, and then prove it tomorrow morning, before the excuses wake up. Because somewhere out there, right now, 8 billion people are going about their lives, most of them comfortably, quietly stuck. And somewhere in that number, there is a small percentage who are done, who have decided, who are no longer interested in the safe, small life that stuck people accept. The only question left is which group you are going to belong to. Not someday. Not eventually. Starting now. Thank you.